Hello and welcome to Einfach Englisch. This video is about the simple past. We find out how to build the simple past and when to use it. Now, in terms of building the simple past, let's have a look at normal statements, negations and questions. We start with normal statements. To build the simple past, you use the infinitive and add ed. The verb to walk would then be walked. In comparison to the simple present, for example, the simple past form is always the same for every person. No matter if it's I, you, he, she, it or we, you, they, it's always walked. For example, I walked to school. However, there are some additional rules. Number 1. A silent E at the end of a verb is left out. Arrive, for example, where you don't hear the E, becomes arrived in the simple past. There are no two E's. Rule number 2. After a stressed vowel, so A, E, I, O or U, the following consonant is doubled. To stop, for example, then becomes stopped with the double P, as the O is stressed. The third rule is that a Y after a consonant becomes IED. Try, for example, then becomes tried. Apart from these exceptions, you also have to keep in mind that there are some verbs which are irregular. That means that there are no rules for these verbs, you simply have to learn them. The most important one is probably the verb to be. The simple past form of this verb is was or were, depending on the person. Now, what about negations? First things first, there are not as many exceptions as there are for normal statements. In the simple past, you simply have to use didn't and the infinitive. An example sentence would be, I didn't walk to school. Just like normal statements, it doesn't matter which person says the sentence. It's always didn't and the infinitive. Let's take a look at questions. Basically, they work just like questions in the simple present, just with did instead of do and does. That means we have the did, the person and the infinitive. Our example sentence as a question would then be, did you walk to school? Again, it doesn't matter which person says the sentence. If you need a question word, for example where, when, how or why, you put it at the beginning of the sentence. So much about how to use the simple past. Let's see when to use it. You use the simple past to talk about actions that happened in the past and that are completed. For example, I visited my friends yesterday. You either talk about single actions or actions that happened one after another. For example, first I watched TV, then I played football. What's important is that the action is completed and that it doesn't refer to the present. By the way, typical signal words are, for example, yesterday, last week, a month ago, in 2019 or this morning. And that's it about the simple past. If the video helped you, maybe consider giving it a like. See you next time.